What makes this situation so interesting is that nobody seems to agree on what the story actually is. Depending on who you ask, this is either a case of social media blowing things completely out of proportion, or a situation where fans are simply connecting dots that have been sitting in plain sight for months. Either way, one thing is certain: people cannot stop talking about it. Throughout the week, social media platforms were flooded with opinions, reactions, and debates. Every post seemed to generate another discussion, every discussion created another theory, and every theory led to even more questions. Supporters of Claressa argued that she has every right to defend herself when she's criticized online. They believe that public figures shouldn't be expected to remain silent while people constantly discuss their personal lives. Critics, however, saw things differently. They argued that responding to every comment only keeps the controversy alive and gives the story even more attention. But here's where things started getting really interesting. Many online observers began focusing less on what was being said and more on what wasn't being said. They started looking at public appearances, social media activity, interviews, and interactions, trying to understand the bigger picture. The result was a flood of speculation that spread across platforms throughout the weekend. For many viewers, Father's Day weekend became a major talking point. Some fans expected certain public displays of support, acknowledgments, or interactions. When those expectations weren't met, people immediately started creating their own interpretations. Suddenly, timelines were filled with theories about priorities, relationships, and what various public actions might mean. Of course, none of these interpretations can confirm what is happening privately. Social media only shows a small fraction of real life, but that didn't stop people from debating every detail as if they had access to the full story. What added even more fuel to the conversation was the timing. While Claressa's name was generating headlines and reactions online, Remy Ma appeared to be experiencing a completely different kind of public attention. Fans were discussing her music achievements, entertainment projects, appearances, and professional accomplishments. As a result, comparisons quickly began appearing across social media. And as we all know, comparisons online rarely stay small. Some users argued there shouldn't be any comparison at all because they believe the two women operate in completely different spaces. Others felt that the public naturally compares people whenever their names become connected to the same conversation. Before long, social media users were breaking down everything from public appearances to fashion choices, trying to determine whether similarities existed or whether people were simply reading too much into ordinary events. The debate became even bigger because every side seemed convinced they were right. Supporters of Claressa argued that much of the criticism was unfair and based entirely on assumptions. They pointed out that people often create narratives online without having access to any real facts. According to them, social media users frequently mistake speculation for evidence. Critics responded by saying public perception matters, especially when someone lives much of their life in the spotlight. They argued that public actions naturally create public reactions, whether those reactions are fair or not. And that's the challenge with situations like this. Once a narrative begins spreading online, it often develops a life of its own. People start looking for clues everywhere. A photo becomes a clue, a missing post becomes a clue, an interview answer becomes a clue. Even silence becomes a clue. Before long, almost everything becomes part of the story. Another major topic that kept resurfacing involved Papoose and his public presence. Many commentators pointed out that fans often see him appearing alongside Claressa during major interviews, media appearances, and high-profile events. These public moments have generated plenty of discussion because they offer viewers a visible glimpse into their connection. However, some online observers questioned whether public appearances tell the entire story. They argued that cameras only capture selected moments and that audiences rarely see what happens away from major events. Others pushed back against that idea, saying it is unfair to judge any relationship based solely on what appears online. This disagreement became one of the biggest themes of the entire conversation. Can social media accurately reflect reality? Or are people creating conclusions from incomplete information? The answer depends entirely on who you ask.
Meanwhile, another discussion began gaining momentum. Some online commentators started focusing on Claressa's career and future opportunities. Reports and rumors circulated about potential deals, future fights, and upcoming announcements. Fans eagerly waited for news, expecting major developments that never seemed to arrive on the timeline many anticipated. As soon as expectations weren't met, more questions emerged. Was something delayed? Was there a strategic reason behind the timing? Or was the public simply expecting information that was never scheduled to arrive in the first place? Again, nobody seemed to have definitive answers. But uncertainty often creates curiosity, and curiosity keeps conversations alive. That's exactly what happened here. Fans continued speculating about future opportunities, upcoming fights, and business developments. Some believed everything was progressing normally behind the scenes. Others wondered whether ongoing controversies could create complications. While there has been no public confirmation supporting those concerns, the discussions continued spreading online. At the same time, critics argued that public disputes and online arguments can sometimes overshadow professional achievements. They believe athletes and entertainers benefit most when their accomplishments remain the center of attention. Supporters disagreed, pointing out that public figures are human beings who have every right to respond when they feel misunderstood or unfairly criticized. That disagreement remains one of the most divisive aspects of the entire situation. Should celebrities ignore criticism, or should they defend themselves publicly? There is no universal answer. Every public figure handles pressure differently. Some remain completely silent, others respond immediately, and each approach comes with its own consequences. As the week continued, social media users kept revisiting old interviews, past comments, and previous public statements. Clips began circulating again, with viewers analyzing them through the lens of current events. Statements that may have seemed insignificant months ago suddenly became major discussion topics. This is something we see repeatedly in celebrity culture. The past often gets re-examined whenever new controversy appears. Comments are revisited, videos are rewatched, interviews are reinterpreted, and audiences try to determine whether they missed something the first time around. Whether those conclusions are accurate is another question entirely, but the process itself keeps the conversation alive. What's perhaps most fascinating about this entire situation is how much of the debate revolves around perception rather than confirmed facts. Much of what people are arguing about comes down to interpretation. One group sees confidence, another group sees frustration. One group sees normal relationship dynamics, another group sees warning signs. The same event produces completely different conclusions depending on who is watching. That may explain why this story continues generating so much attention. There is enough ambiguity for everyone to see something different. And when a story contains unanswered questions, audiences naturally become invested in finding answers. As of now, the online discussion shows no signs of slowing down. New reactions continue appearing, new opinions continue forming, new theories continue spreading. Every time the conversation appears ready to fade away, another post, another comment, or another debate seems to pull people right back in. Whether this situation eventually quiets down or grows even larger remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: people remain deeply interested in what happens next. Will future developments change public opinion? Will new information answer some of the questions fans keep asking? Or will this remain one of those stories where the speculation becomes bigger than the actual facts? Only time will tell. For now, the debate continues, social media remains divided, and everyone seems to be waiting for the next chapter. What do you think? Are people reading too much into the situation, or do public actions naturally invite public discussion? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.